Let's get some analysis on this now from Tahani Mustafa. She's a Palestine analyst and she joins me now live from Amman. Thank you so much for being with us on the program, Tahani. We heard from our correspondent in Gaza there saying how dire the humanitarian situation was and that almost everyone now in Gaza is dependent on some sort of aid, whether it be from UNRWA or any other organization operating in the enclave. Just give us a sense of what the defunding of UNRWA has led to, though, now.
Thank you. So as you just said, the humanitarian situation in Gaza right now is catastrophic. The majority of the population are wholly dependent on any aid being able to make its way through. Due to the absence of sanitation, nutrition, access to healthcare. Already we had predictions coming out from December about the fact that, at some point, deaths from malnutrition, starvation, lack of access to healthcare could start to outnumber those from actual military assaults. And now experts are starting to put an actual figure on that in terms of the humanitarian impact that extends far beyond just the military campaign ongoing. So now we have predictions of something like in the next 6 months, if the situation continues as it is, we could see estimates of something like 58,000 people dying from malnutrition and lack of access to sanitation and medical care. Now, obviously defunding UNRWA, which has been the primary provider of aid to the Gaza Strip since the onslaught on the 7th of October, will be absolutely catastrophic. I mean, it's something that even organizations like the WFP, the World Food Programme, have already, something that they themselves are trying to offset, something that they themselves have said that they cannot come in and fill that void. There is no organization to fill that void.
Right. In regards to this investigation that's currently underway on UNRWA, many question whether or not the outcome will change anything if it doesn't work in favor for Israel, given that Israel's aim here, according to the UNRWA chief, is to dismantle the organization completely.
I mean, these attacks on UNRWA we've seen ongoing for decades now. This is nothing new. Israel's accusations against UNRWA are nothing new. We've seen these accusations about supposedly UNRWA's links to Hamas since the first Hamas-Israel cross-border skirmish or conflict or war, whatever you want to call it, since 2008. And all of those have been systematically debunked by reputable international organizations, including Human Rights Watch, including Amnesty International, including the UN itself. Now, it's also worth considering that UNRWA was themselves the ones to flag the involvement of 12 of its staff members to Israel. I think weeks just prior, before these allegations were then made public, and they had already taken immediate action by dismissing them, had already launched its own internal investigation. I think it's also worth considering that Israel's timing of this is very apt, considering that Israel decided to make this public immediately after the ICJ ruling, at a time where it was ordered to ensure that it was to prevent the act of genocide. That includes withholding access to much needed humanitarian aid. So, these accusations are coming at a very apt time for Israel. It has managed to shift the narrative. And as I said, these accusations are nothing new. Now, I think in terms of what the implications of this is going to be is the fact that the international donors have decided to withhold funding without any serious investigation, with the evidence that Israel has provided being debunked, is absolutely reckless, strategically reckless, as well as humanitarian terms, completely immoral.
Right. Let's focus on the humanitarian aspects of it all, because the implications of this is going to be profound, not just in Gaza, but beyond, because UNRWA operates not just in Palestine, but in countries like Lebanon and Syria. Just help our viewers better understand how big of an effect this will have if they indeed do dismantle UNRWA completely.
Well, I mean, look, as you said, this is not just Gaza we're talking about. This is the West Bank. This is Jordan. This is Syria. This is Lebanon. These refugees, you're talking about something like 5.29 million refugees that UNRWA provides services to, healthcare, education, as well as access to food and certain other community services that these host states are incapable of providing for these refugees. Lebanon at the moment barely has a functioning economy. It is effectively a failed state. It is not capable of providing those services to the refugees within its borders. That is something that it wholly relies on UNRWA to do. The same thing in Jordan. Jordan hosts the largest number of Palestinian refugees. There are huge, substantial segments of that Palestinian refugee population that do not have access to state services. For them, UNRWA is their only access to things like healthcare, education, and even food. The same thing in places like Syria. So this goes well beyond Gaza. This could create a huge humanitarian issue beyond Gaza's borders, even in the West Bank now, which even the WFP have been warning about in terms of the humanitarian catastrophe we're seeing with Israel's ongoing economic siege of the West Bank, and where the WFP have had to now extend its operations from something like 60,000 to 160,000 operations in the West Bank alone. So this is, again, this is catastrophic in terms of what is happening.
All right, Palestine analyst Tahani Mustafa, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for being with us here on the NewsHour.